No judgment at Social Kitchen. Mari and I are sitting in the Social Kitchen and Brewery talking about the nature of female beauty. We both live in the inner Sunset, and over the years we've seen the building go through many transformations. It was a dive bar, it was a Mexican restaurant, it was an upscale neighborhood spot named Wonder Beer. I miss Wonder Beer. It was an empty husk, and now it's Social Kitchen. Almost every incarnation has been better than the last. It's so hard to tell the difference between gentrification and evolution sometimes. Progress and terrible things share an apartment. I pointed her towards John Oliver's terrific takedown of the Miss America pageant, and the very idea that in the 21st century we would line up women in swimsuits to be judged. But this isn't just about beauty, of course, it's also about competition. We can't just be happy that we have 50 beautiful women standing on a stage in swimsuits who will, it is fair to deduce, do anything we ask. No, we also have to rank them. Which, when you think about it, might be the absolute worst possible use of anyone's time in that situation. Yes, pageants are obviously a blatant display of misogyny, but there's something else at work here too, an obsession with hierarchy that's generally not commented upon because we're still focused on all the misogyny. Got lots of beautiful women? Let's figure out who's the most beautiful. What is that? Wonder Beer used to be a little bit of a meat market. Social Kitchen is not. Most of the space is devoted to tables, which means it's more of a place where you come with your existing friends, not to meet new ones. And while it's easy for a mixed drink bar to slip over into sexy trendy, it's a lot harder for a craft beer bar. Mixology, which happens right in front of you, conjures up images of dazzling nights and gorgeous strangers, while craft brewing, which happens in a vat in the back, conjures up images of sturdy brewmasters who wonder if the suds taste too much of yeast. Social Kitchen does it all well, and I'm going through their blonde beers tonight, none of which makes me stand up and cheer, but all of which I recommend. Gentlemen prefer blondes, I joke, and Mari twirls her hair, saying, but redheads have more fun. She sighs, poor brunettes. That's her natural color. The sci-fi master Octavia Butler once had an alien species declare that humanity was destined to destroy itself because it combines two incompatible traits. We are simultaneously intelligent and hierarchical. This has always struck me as an insight worth exploring, but it's not Mari's issue tonight. She's bringing it back to beauty. Mari has had a bad run of guys who insisted they were her friends, only to soon confess their love for her, then disappear from her life when she tried to let them down gently. It's left her bitter about beauty and friendship. She's firmly in the, if you really loved me, you wouldn't disappear when I say I won't fuck you camp. And that's always made sense to me. Not that I don't sympathize with Mari's would-be beaus. I crush easily, and it gave me problems until I learned to relax. Hanging out with interesting, beautiful people is a pleasure all its own. Good things may come after, but the experience spoils if you treat it like an appetizer. I also get easily bored with my own romances, a discovery that has nicely tempered the obsessive quality that can come from being around the beautiful. An artist friend of mine from LA, Tracy Vanola, once produced a series called Monsters and Bimbos, in which she pointed out that bimbos are pressured to all be exactly alike one another, while monsters get to relish in a terrible individuality. Bimbos can be ranked against a uniform standard. A monster is diminished the more he's comparable to anything else. Tracy always admired me, and Mari envies me, because when I walk in a room, everyone immediately knows he's a monster. Mari is one of the many monsters who the world treats like a bimbo. She doesn't want to be in a hierarchy, even if she may very well be on the top. Perhaps that's why she likes Social Kitchen. It tries a little too hard on the food and mixed drinks for her taste, but it's perfectly relaxed on everything else. Life lessons from a ditch digger at the Mucky Duck. I'm sitting in the Mucky Duck with Jimmy, who called me up today and told me that his old mentor from back in Montana was in town, and he's wondering if I could meet him. This guy's important, Jimmy said. He's the guy who first taught me how to dig a ditch. Of course, I said yes. Greg was recently elected the mayor of the 800-person town he lives in, which, he says, has let its infrastructure get so bad that it now needs more than $50 million in repairs to its water system. How does a town with just over 800 people raise that kind of money? It's going to be the work of a generation, he says. Unfortunately, he's getting ready to retire. He's going to try to leave them with a solid plan before he leaves public life, something everybody can rally behind when he's gone. The Mucky Duck is a sports bar. Lots of screens, good jukebox, pool table, better than average beer selection for a sports bar. Great Bloody Marys, and absolutely no pretension. I order an arrogant bastard, which Jimmy finds hilarious. I can't believe you ordering that, he says over and over. It's perfect. Thanks, Jimmy. The story, as Jimmy tells it, is that he was a teenager working in a sandwich shop one day. He pantomimed slathering mayonnaise on bread. And Craig came in and said, "Hey kid, you want to make some extra money doing some side work?" I said, "Yes," Jimmy said. "I mean, sure." And so that night I found myself digging a ditch. My back was sore, my body aching, getting blisters on my fingers, and just having the time of my life. And I thought, I can get paid to work like this. I had no idea. Since then he's come to San Francisco, and Jimmy has helped build massive art installations, created robot fighting rings, built boats out of garbage, worked the lighting for Center Camp Cafe at Burning Man, and been the go-to gopher for Camp Tipsy. He's everywhere, using his hands to help a whole arts movement develop in rickety buildings and DIY masonry. How do you know? I asked Craig. How did you know this kid will make it happen? Craig waved the question away. I tried to get lots of kids to help me, he says. It was trial and error. They didn't work out. They'd be digging and I'd leave for a half hour and come back and find they hadn't gotten any farther. And they'd say, "There's a rock in the hole. I didn't know what to do." But Jimmy, he's the one who worked out. We all laugh. "Oh man, I've hired that kid," Jimmy says. I tell him to help me pull up a carpet and then get the nails out. And then I tell him to clean up all the dirt from the floor while I'm gone. And then when I get back, I find he's asleep on the damn carpet. One day Craig told Jimmy it was time to go and gave him some tools. Jimmy got on a bus and eventually ended up here, where he's helped shape a culture. That's how this works. I don't really know why Jimmy asked me to meet Craig. I'm worried that the kid looks at me as a mentor figure too. He can do better. Why isn't he? The Mucky Duck was also Jimmy's choice of bars. As long as we were nearby, that's the one he wanted to go to. Fair enough. It's about as straightforward as a bar gets. I've lived in this neighborhood for years, and people love this place. I'm not a sports bar guy. I think Jimmy can do better. But I can tell you how much people adore this spot. It's a bar for people who don't like bars to walk in and feel right at home. Jimmy asked me if I've heard of Berlin. And when I say no, he tells me that Craig invented it. It's a combination of bowling and curling, Craig explains. Curling stones are actually really expensive, so instead, for Berlin, you take a bowling ball, cut it in half, attach handles to each half, and play with that. What do you think? I'm not a sports guy, but I can tell him the complete and unvarnished truth. You had me at cut a bowling ball in half. That's the sort of idea that a man might leave behind as a legacy.